Let's talk about these championship games and what your expectations are, Coach.
Yeah, so Philly and Washington, they split in the regular season, right? Mm-hmm. I just think Washington is playing so much better team football right now. I think Philly, obviously, they can run the ball. They've struggled. Who'd have thought that they would have beat the Rams, right? And A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith would have 6 catches for 35 yards between the two. Like they just and Jalen's holding the ball and holding it, and there's nobody getting open. They know each other, so there may be a wrinkle like they talked about, a wrinkle here or there on both sides of the ball, some little gamesmanship, whatever. But I like, and again, Washington 30th in run defense throughout the course of the year. This guy had almost 300 yards rushing and 4 touchdowns in 2 games. Saquon did on these guys, but I like the Commanders and the points in this one.
You continue with the dogs.
Because I just think that all the pressure is on Philly. They're at home. The expectations with Sirianni, and I love Coach Joey Panunzio, my paisan from home.
Panunzio, Sirianni, Big Dom, Mozzarella.
Are you kidding me? But all the pressure's on them. And Washington, they're playing with house money. They've exceeded expectations by $2 million to this point, and that'll change next year, obviously. But this kid's playing so free. He's mature beyond his years, Jaden Daniels. Lattimore, he's going to go shadow, A.J. Brown and all that stuff. So they'll make just enough play. Louvu.
Oh, dog.
Louvu,
Jared Goff.
what he did to Goof. I mean,
Goff. His name's Jared Goff.
Turned him into a goof.
No, he turned him back. Yeah, turned him back.
It should have been called.
Commanders beating the Lions. I assume that was on your ref call, the one that you're on every week saying, how do I stick up for the refs every week? I appreciate you doing that for them. It should have been called, obviously, defenseless player, even though he's trying to make a tackle.
They missed that.
Them beating the Lions gave me a thought that Notre Dame could beat Ohio State. I was like, you know what? Commanders just beat the damn Detroit Lions. Detroit Lions more healthy than they've been for a long time.
Oh, yeah.
Detroit Lions the most dominant at home. They got Eminem there. They got Jello Ball
Curse
performing up there. They got it all. I didn't think there was a chance the Commanders are going to win that game.
I didn't think there was either, and I didn't think the Lions would turn the ball over as much as they did. That was the key to the game. They did not take care of the ball.
5 turnovers, obviously 3 interceptions from Jared Goff, 1 interception from Jameson Williams, then add in a fumble on that. That's impossible. But also, the Commanders out-physicaled the Detroit Lions. Like, they showed up.
They keep it really, really simple on the defensive side. They don't do a whole lot. They're going to play a bunch of middle field closed, single high, mix in some 2 here and there. Little fire zone, 3 under 3 deep, but them some bitches play hard and they play fast.
You know who else feels the same way you do, I think? He was leading towards it hard as soon as the game was announced. A.J. Hawk.
Mm-hmm.
Ain't that right, A.J.?
Yeah, 6 points. The 6 points definitely has me curious about this Commanders team, no question.
He's a big fan of the Commander squad. I mean, how could you not be after the wins that they just got right there? And is it a team of destiny?
Yeah, if they win, they'll be the 3rd ever team to win against the 3 seed, 2 seed, and 1 seed. The other 2 being the 2005 Steelers and the 2010 A.J. Hawk Packers.
And what did they do?
They all won the Super Bowl.
Interesting. History says if the boys are able to get a win here in Philly, which is going to be tough against the Johns, especially with the 30th rush defense, that's not good, especially with what Philadelphia is, and they know what they are. It's like this Commanders team can beat anybody. They proved that last week, and obviously that's football any given Sunday, especially Championship Sunday. Now, let's go to the AFC. Patrick Mahomes taking on Josh Allen.
Man.
How do you see it going, Chuck Pagano?
Yeah, I mean, everybody would love to see Josh Allen and this Buffalo Bills try to get over the hump, but, I'll take Kansas City. I just...
Wow.
Until somebody knocks them off and beats them...
It's the first favorite you've picked.
They had 212 yards. They lost the 3rd down battle. They lost the rush battle. The only battle they won last against Houston was the penalties. Right? But anyway, I'm not going to...
What are you going to say? What are you going to say?
Go ahead.
You want Joe Mixon this thing real quick?
212 yards, it looked like, nothing, and they win by 8 or 9 points still. You know what I mean?
Yes.
So until somebody goes in there and you knock Pat Mahomes off and Kelsey's hit his stride, when he came on your program and he said, I feel like I'm 22 again, by God, he looked 22.
We didn't know Caitlin was going to be there, too.
Had no idea.
22.
Added.
Yeah, who's number 22?
She might be there again.
Yeah, maybe. We'll see. Here's some stats from Hembo. James Cook in his 4 playoff games with Joe Brady as offensive coordinator. He's averaging 92 scrimmage yards per game on 22 touches, and 53 out of 87 total touches are on first down. James Cook let him cook first. Highest touchdown to interception ratio in playoff history, minimum 300 attempts. Number 1 all-time, Josh Allen.
Okay.
Number 2 all-time, Patrick Mahomes. Chris Jones has only sacked Josh Allen once in their 7 meetings, but he's pressured him 25 times and created 20 incompletions. Wow. While being doubled 55% of the times. Check 95, Mike's 95. Chris Jones, absolute dog. Hollywood Brown was targeted only twice, had 0 catches on 20 routes against Houston. Gonna have to get him back into everything. Amari Cooper just gave an interview for the first time yesterday. Did you hear that?
Yeah. It was impressive.
It was. He was talking about the last game of the season. You're the win or lose. He was talking about the finality, a championship. He said, I've been a part of it 2 times, maybe 3 times. Amari Cooper's won a lot. Remember, Nick Saban told us that throughout his entire time with Amari Cooper as an Alabama football team member, we had 1 conversation.
1, yeah.
He never talked. Super quiet guy, which I think has led some people to believe he's checked out. And Nick Saban's like, he's not checked out. He's very much locked in. He's just quiet. Yep. He gave an interview and he talked about championship mentality and what it takes. He's a full team guy.
Yeah.
Amari Cooper in the Buffalo Bills, perfect. Seemingly a perfect marriage up there. Amari Cooper has been targeted 9 times on 60 routes run across his last 5 games. What's that all about?
I don't know.
What's Josh Allen doing? Give him the ball.
Well, I mean, last week offensively, Josh Allen only threw for 124 yards. They
just like Pat.
Yeah, exactly.
Just like Jalen.
Right.
Not a lot of pass yards,
You win the turnover battle, 4-0.
And don't expect it, because if they stay in base defense, McDuffie will travel, and I think he'll line up across, from Amari. And take him out. When you go to nickel, then McDuffie goes inside the slot, and that'll be a good one to watch, him and Shakir.
Shakir, yeah.
Because I love Shakir. I mean, he's a Boise State Bronco.
Really?
This sumbitch is a war daddy.
Yeah, he is.
I mean,
Came out of nowhere.
I mean, he catches the ball, and guess what he does?
What's that?
North and south.
Turns upfield.
He doesn't
Steve
go
Yard.
sideways and get.
Is that because you went to
Straight
Boise
ahead.
State, you think?
What's that?
Because you went to Boise State. I know he loves Jesus.
I don't know what it's because, but the guy's a dog.
Have to love Jesus, you Boise State. Have you seen what the projected salary cap is for next year, AJ?
I have not. No, what is it?
Projected salary cap next year, $275 million. Now, here is the salary cap growth since the year 1994, okay? Not that long ago. 1994, I was 7 years old. $34.6 million is how much you were allowed to spend on your entire roster. Then obviously you see the growth. 2010 was an uncapped year because there was a CBA lockout. There was no agreement, so they could have spent whatever. That was an uncapped year. 2020, obviously, you see it go down. That's because they weren't able to have anybody in the stands. But if you look from 2013 to 2025, the growth of this league is unbelievable. The amount of money going out to players, significant. Now, how will it continue to grow? How do they continue to expand? Well, if they add a game and add a bye week, that's 2 more weeks of primetime games that they can sell to these new streaming devices. That's 2 more weeks of concessions. That's 2 more weeks of merch. That's 2 more weeks of ticketing. That's 2 more weeks of money, which is probably what they're going to sell. $275 million is the projected cap for next year. And in 1994, it was $34.6 million. Big shout out to all the players and coaches that have put this league on their back. And, made it a very profitable business. Yeah. We appreciate the hell out of you.
Hell yeah.
Chuck, what do you see here? Because in 2013, $123 million salary cap was huge. People were like, holy shit, $123 million in a salary cap. Now, $275 is the projection. That is absolutely insane. Now, the 2023 to 24 jump, 224 to 255, they're saying that's like a make good from the 2020 jump. 2020 had a downfall because there was no tickets. Remember, they had the cardboard people in the stands, and they said there's going to be 30,000 cardboard members in the audience, and there's going to be 10 actual members in the audience. So there's going to be 30,010 people at this particular game. It's like, that's not how that works.
Come on.
So the salary cap drops a little bit, but then it finally catches up in 2024. Now it's off to the races. What a league, Chuck Pagano. What is your biggest takeaway as you look at this graph?
You'd look at, it was just, $8-10 million a year, pretty much. Then you talked about COVID where they missed, and then these huge jumps, even 2024 to 2020. What is that, $20 million? $20 million, right? Yeah, it's incredible the way this league. We didn't know any better. Like in 2011, when I was at the Ravens, like $120 million, and again, we weren't paying quarterbacks $60 million a year, or what we're paying them now. So
yeah, but as that salary cap has gone, that's where quarterback contracts have gone as well.
Bingo.
You know, in the new CBA that was negotiated there during that lockout, and then obviously post that, the new CBA had like a veteran min. If you've been in the league for at least 5 years, here's what your veteran min is. Rookie min is like half of that. And what ended up happening is quarterback money went up, and then the veterans actually started getting cut because all the rookie mins would be the case. So there was like some backwards effects that they thought it was going to be. So much money, AJ. So much money. Now, granted, players are always going to want more, which I hope happens. I hope players are going to continue to get more. The league's obviously going to want more. But $275 million split 50-50 amongst the NFL and the players for the salary cap. You can build a good team there, AJ. You can build a good team down there.
Yeah, I can imagine you better be able to build a good team with that much cash. But do we know how much or what this chart would compare to, say, like the NBA and their salary cap or other professional sports?
Interesting. We have not done.
I wonder how are theirs trending in this direction as well?
Yeah, and obviously we have 53-man rosters and everything like that versus the NBA, who has 15 guys on there. So per player, I think we would have to do a lot of, kind of get it accurate.
Or just see if theirs is going up as much as the NFL, like each year after year, or do they continue to grow?
Yeah, theirs is definitely on like a per year basis. Like Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown, same team. They both signed damn near, or one of them did sign a $300+ million contract. The other was right on the line. And then they're talking about SGA, Oklahoma City star, who I don't believe has had his super max yet, but they're saying he might be the first ever like $80 million a year player. So I think as far as money-wise goes, they're close just because, like Pat said, 15 players. But yeah, I guess here it is right here.
Guaranteed as well, though. That's a big difference.
Guaranteed is a massive difference.
Yeah, and I mean,
this is where the luxury tax in the NBA.
I sent a graph in.
Yeah, $58 million there. It's $140 million now, so it looks like it's going up. You go down to 2010 to what it is 2024. Congrats to AP Tone getting your votes in. Offensive Player of the Year is obviously a massive one because this normally goes to the person that isn't a quarterback because the quarterback normally going to win the MVP. We all assume Saquon Barkley is going to win this, but hey, could be anybody else. Could be Josh Allen not even being a finalist for the Offensive Player of the Year tells you a little something too about this entire voting process. Lamar Jackson, finalist for Offensive Player of the Year, finalist for NFL MVP as well, which is Josh Allen, Saquon Barkley, Joe Burrow, Jared Goff, Lamar Jackson. These are not in any order. These are just a list of the finalists. And then Defensive Player of the Year obviously was announced. Zach Bond getting in there. Shout out to him having a massive year. Myles Garrett, Trey Hendrickson, Pat Surtain II, and TJ White getting in there. And then Comeback Player of the Year. Also finalists were announced, and this is a big one. This is a conversation because Joe Burrow obviously injured, came back. J.K. Dobbins injured, came back. Christian Gonzalez
missed 13 games,
came back. Damar Hamlin, I think we all know what happened with it within the last 2 years, I guess. It wasn't last season. Sam Darnold, though, was active, I believe, for 17 games last year. So he didn't have any injuries, any sickness, any death, potentially, that is also on this list within the last 2 years. But he is on the Comeback Player of the Year finalist list. So let's go to AP Tone. Tone, why do you think that is the case? And what do you think inevitably ends up happening with this particular award?
So this over the last 2 years, I believe it was Geno Smith, and then Joe Flacco. Neither of those guys were coming back from injury. They were coming back from, they just weren't playing, whether it wasn't good, they were old, circumstances, situations happen. We all know when Joe Flacco won over Damar Hamlin, there was a lot of people talking. Even Joe Flacco said, like, hey, not Comeback Player of the Year. Damar Hamlin's Comeback Player of the Year.
Yeah, come back from what? Ubering my kids around his
exactly.
What he said.
So then there was the AP kind of put out earlier this year, the kind of how the rule should have been taken. The spirit of the award is to honor a player who has demonstrated resilience in the face of adversity by overcoming illness, physical injury, or other circumstances that led him to miss playing time the previous season. Now, other circumstances, I guess you can take that however you want, but a lot of AP voters took the spirit of the award, overcoming like an injury, illness, something like that, not just, not playing.
But he's a finalist. I see him as a finalist. So not as many AP voters as we had thought decided to put the guy who didn't play just because he wasn't starter, and then now he plays great into the comeback player of the year. You AP people are you guys all on the same page over there? What's going on?
It doesn't feel like it. I'm not allowed to reveal who I voted for yet, or the top 5. I don't believe, but I asked the AP about it and this situation as far as Sam Darnold goes, and they said everyone in the NFL is eligible for comeback player of the year unless you're a rookie because you weren't in the NFL last year. But we hope the voters, take the spirit of the award as how it should.
Okay, so we should assume with that message being sent multiple times from the AP that although Sam Darnold is certainly a finalist here, and Tone won't give away his votes.
No, he won't.
But as somebody who's been very lucky enough to ride alongside an AP voter, they've changed this year. Like, this is a this year change thing. So whenever the sports books had Sam Darnold as the favorite to win the entire thing because of how he's playing, they were going off what previous awards were like. People were taking their bets. Sports books were accepting the bets. You name it. And then once again had to come out and say, hey, what the voters are being told is it's not like you stink, now you're good again.
Correct.
It's like, hey, did you go through some shit and now you're back? So we can assume that's what the award's going to be and who it's going to go to.
Yeah, and I tweeted it out earlier in the year when I saw that he was a favorite. Like I said, I think the sports books, this is kind of misleading to people. A lot of people reply with that. Other circumstances are that he was on the Jets. The Jets drafted him. That's that's pretty big. Other circumstances,
Classic.
Things like that.
I mean, the more we
I
learn,
can't argue that.
yeah, the more we learn, it is
Rick,
tough
yeah,
circumstances.
I can't argue that.
Yeah, agreed. Brick Johnson comes in there, tells you stink. That's going to be tough to respond for.
Yeah.
It's like when you're playing Call of Duty and a guy in the lobby says something that hits a little bit too close to home. That's Brick Johnson football, And then I think Brick Johnson is a motivator. I think if we were to understand the story from the New York Times is athletic, he wants to celebrate people and everything. I assume he didn't just crush Sam Darnold, but I guess you could other circumstances into this guy was in a terrible situation.
You could if you wanted to not pay attention to the spirit of the award, sure.
But you have to. Like, this is a 2-horse race. It's J.K. Dobbins and, Joe Burrow. And I'm a Christian Gonzalez guy, but, like, J.K. Dobbins and Joe Burrow, unless I'm mistaken, haven't really won any All-Pro or anything this year. So, like, I feel like it's sometimes with these awards, like, they're almost, rewarding guys when they don't get rewarded in other places. Like, Joe Burrow had an unbelievable season. Is he really going to win nothing? Like, you would assume they're going to give him
There's a
something.
chance Saquon wins nothing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's a chance. Which,
That's why, to that point, that's why it's like, hey, he's going to win Offensive Player of the Year because he can't just
well, what if
win
Josh
nothing.
Allen wins the MVP? Then Lamar Jackson wins nothing?
Yeah, well, yeah.
Yeah.
There's a chance.
If Lamar Jackson wins the MVP, which all Pro Football Writers Association of America has deemed Lamar Jackson the MVP.
Yes.
I didn't do enough research on how much that matches up with the AP. I should have. First team All-Pro quarterback, though, Lamar Jackson, which is voted on by the same AP people that are voting for the awards. So let's assume Lamar Jackson's winning the MVP. So Josh Allen doesn't win the MVP again. He's not up for Offensive Player of the Year, right?
He's not. Yeah.
So Josh Allen has another 40-plus touchdown year, has led his team again, he won 3 rushing touchdowns, 3 passing touchdowns, week 13 or
Against
14.
Lions.
First time ever that has happened to quarterback. Having the year he's having with the roster he's having, he's going to win nothing. He's going to end up with nothing in this entire thing. So
Maybe the Super Bowl.
bingo.
Which he'd say, hey, I don't need that other trap.
Well, just like Saquon would say as well, if the Eagles were able to do that.
100%.